Welcome to the Apartment Investor Show, where we help you get smart and invest smarter. I'm your host, JC Castillo, founder and managing principal of the Multifamily Property Group. And joining me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Paul Peebles, national underwriter for Old Capital Lending. Paulie, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, JC. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Paulie, what are we going to talk about that's so important for these viewers to tune in today?
So I hear a lot of information that gets pushed out there on the internet from people that say they're experts. I can't say I'm an expert, even though I've done $1 billion worth of loans just last year with our group. We do a lot of multifamily apartment lending, but you want to get the direct information from the direct data sources. And so today we're going to break down what we think is maybe the top 5 areas of the country to put your hard-earned money in. If you're thinking about investing as a passive investor, or maybe going to these areas as a general partner to expand your portfolio. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about where you should be investing.
Absolutely, Paul. You know, I can't agree with you more. It's so important for people to get this data from the right sources. And we've got 3 of the top data analytics providers that we're basing our data on. So we're not just making up the top 5 apartment investor show based on our own opinions. These are actually the top 5 markets based on us looking at lots of hard data from some of the top 3 providers. And so what we've got for you today is really going to give you a great snapshot if you're looking to invest your money as either a passive investor or as an active sponsor looking for those best and top markets to go and put your hard-earned dollars into. So Paulie, why don't we talk a little bit about sort of where we're pulling this data from?
So this data gets pulled from 3 different sources that we think are probably the best data sources that you could have out there. One is CoStar. CoStar, you can take a look at that on the internet. That's a paid site that you can go to, and you can get this data that gets downloaded to you. They have thousands of analysts kind of accumulating the data on maybe 150 to 200 different large cities in the United States. Apartments is what they focus in on. They do office and retail, but apartments is one of the things. So they've given us a list. Second one is Yardi Matrix. Yardi Matrix is another pay-for site. They have analysts that kind of figure out the top 130 different areas of the country that the best areas for year-over-year growth is. The third one is kind of an open source. It's RealPage. You may have heard Greg Willett on a past video that we shot, and Greg Willett is the chief economist for RealPage. But RealPage is kind of a high technology company that they provide software to owners of apartments in their management companies that kind of figure out, what is this unit going to be costing for a month, and maybe this unit, when is the property going to be vacant? So there's incredible data that comes from the software that pretty much every apartment uses throughout the country. So at the end of the night, they have all this data that they can take a look at. So 3 different independent groups, and I want you to take a look at that.
Well, Paulie, let's get to this. Drum roll, please. Let's get to the top 5 apartment markets. And what we're going to do is start off with the number 5 market and talk about that market and talk about how it stacks up with this data from these data analytics providers. Let's get to it.
So number 5, and again, we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Number 5 for us is going to be Austin, Texas. We like Austin, Texas.
Texas city in there, huh, Paulie?
Hard to believe that I would be biased towards Texas, but I certainly am to a certain extent, but not, we do a ton of business down in Austin. But, things that we're looking for when to kind of come together with this data is year-over-year rental growth. So year-over-year rental growth is important for us. That's what you want to take a look at, and how the market is it going up? Is it going down? Is it just staying sideways? So look for the last 12 months and how that's done, or maybe some future on what the projections are for rental growth. Second thing is job growth. We have a tremendous amount of people that continue to move from the Northeast down to the smile of the country, from Arizona all the way out to Florida. So you're looking for job growth in those areas. So with job growth comes apartments. With apartments with large amount of job growth comes higher rents. The third thing is that we like landlord and biz-friendly states. In California, where JC's at, not so much friendly with landlord states.
Yeah, people make a career out of living for free here in California in rentals, unfortunately.
Yeah, Texas is that our phrase here, which I like, is that if you don't pay, you don't stay. In California, if you don't pay, maybe we'll get kicked out in 10, 11, 12 months. So it certainly is difficult to be a landlord in some of these non-friendly states. The fourth thing is supply, is how many apartments are being built these days. And so how much inventory is going to come out of the ground, how much of an impact that's going to be. Because a lot of us invest in Class B and C multifamily, and that's a little bit different from brand new properties that are coming out of the ground. So our properties that we invest in are probably 20, 30, 40 years old. And so that's what we want to be concerned about, is what the competition looks like for apartments in and around the area. So again, let's kind of go through our list of other apartment markets to kind of help you how we came to that Austin market. So the first one we looked at, and this is on RealPage. Again, that's an open source. You can go into realpage.com. Take a look at the first two: Las Vegas, Henderson, Paradise, all that area around Las Vegas. Second one being Phoenix, Scottsdale. And what's maybe some of the thinking on those two? Well, that was the markets that got probably hit the hardest, Phoenix and Las Vegas during the last Great Recession. And so that's something that maybe a lot of people continue to move there, but they were not building homes because they had so much inventory and they weren't building apartments. So now it's their time to kind of rise out of the ashes. Now take a look at some of the other property areas. Austin, Texas. So now we got Austin in that mix. Raleigh, North Carolina, and then last Sacramento. So even though I always say, live in California, invest outside the state of Texas, state of California, Sacramento pops up in that list. So Sacramento is a good area of California if you're thinking about keeping money in California for you Californians.
Yes, that's right.
Let's go to the next slide. Now we're starting to see a little bit of a pattern about what's going on here. So take a look at what's going on here. Phoenix, Las Vegas, Sacramento. We skipped Atlanta. Inland Empire, just in Southern California, and now Austin again. But look at these growth rates in some of these areas. Again, these are year-over-year growth rates. So let's go say May, June of this year, back 12 months. That's the growth rate in some of these markets. So some markets are flat, some markets are lower. But these markets that we're looking at, these are pretty strong, stellar growth rates of rents.
And I think the amazing thing, Paulie, if I can jump in, is what's really amazing here is you think about where we are in the market cycle. I mean, we've had a pretty good run. I mean, this run's been, since we started coming out of the Great Recession, maybe say 2012-ish.
Yeah.
You can see that we're still ticking. Austin's still ticking up at 4.6% rental growth. And that's just a reflection of how strong that market is out there.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about why it's happening there. We go to this last slide, again, the RD matrix, take a look at some of the familiar names that we're seeing: Phoenix and Las Vegas, Sacramento again, Atlanta again, Inland Empire again. Again, there's our Austin one more time. So number 5 on our list, Austin, Texas.
Yeah. And I think, Paulie, the other thing I wanted to jump in here is, what you're seeing here is you're seeing that not all of the data analytics providers have the same cities in the same exact order, although you will see a lot of commonalities across the data. But why that's important to all you viewers out there is that you don't just want to focus on one provider for your data analytics. You really want to look at the aggregate of what all these people are saying and kind of roll it up together. And sort of that's what I think gives you a real good snapshot of where you want to go, is sort of everybody sort of singing the same tune about a market is better than maybe one guy saying something about one market and another guy saying something completely different.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I like this next slide because it kind of breaks it down, year-over-year growth, and then it talks a little bit about rental forecast, where we think rents are going to go for the following, say, next 12 months. And then it has job growth too. So take a look at some of these areas of Las Vegas, Phoenix, all the way down to Austin, 2.5% job growth. I mean, that's a lot of people coming to Texas for jobs. And then completions of total stock, which really means new properties coming online.
That's right.
How much new inventory is being built right now. And then take a look at some of the numbers in terms of occupancy on these properties. Occupancy in these properties is still very high, and I think they're going to continue to be strong too. More jobs coming in, more people there, continues to fill up these buildings.
Yeah, I really like this slide, Paul. I mean, it really gives you the important snapshot of sort of what we look for when we're investing in these apartment locations.
I mean, that's absolutely correct. So let's kind of focus a little bit more on Austin and why people continue to use Austin as a place to put their money in. So Austin itself is, in the big picture of things, is a very favorable area to invest in. If you've never been to Austin, Austin kind of looks like maybe a San Francisco, Northern California junior. a lot of high technologies down there. A lot of people continue to leave California, coming to Austin. Higher quality of life, they think. But one of probably the biggest things is, as we say, no state income tax in Texas. No state income tax in Texas. So guys like JC, that can be costly in California and some of these other states.
We pay a pretty penny to live here in California. That's for sure, Paul.
No problem. But a lot of people continue to put their companies, their regional headquarters in Austin, in that golden triangle, as we call it, between Dallas to Austin, San Antonio, over to Houston. Apple just put $1 billion into Austin with another 5,000 jobs. So Austin is really something to take a look at. Second slide kind of talks a little bit about what's going on in building and what you can expect. And so building in and around that area for apartments is a steady piece. I mean, it didn't spike up as much as some of the other areas like Dallas. Dallas has like 35, 36, 37,000 apartment units coming online or being built right now. So Austin's not that much, but it continues to have nicer apartments. But as you know, in our space, in the B and C properties, we call it workforce housing. Our properties that were being built today, the brand new Class A buildings, they're going to be our B and C properties 25 or 30 years from now. And that's what typically we invest in too. So Austin is the University of Texas. A lot of smart people go to the University of Texas, one of the largest universities in the country. If you couldn't get into University of Texas, and the first time you went to Austin City College, which is kind of a junior college and transitions into the University of Texas. One of the things I do like about Texas, the University of Texas in that area, is that when you send your kids, if you live up in Dallas or Houston, to Austin, it'd be very tough to get them back home. So University of Texas is kind of a magnet for that Austin living down there. So we certainly like a lot of smart people live in Austin. So it feeds a lot of this biomedical and engineering and computer sciences down in Austin. So Austin has 49% of its workforce down there are college educated. So
Wow.
if you're coming to Texas and you're going to Austin, you're probably a pretty smart person living down in Austin itself. So we definitely like Austin. It's on our top 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top 5 different areas of the country that we think that you would think about possibly putting some of your hard-earned money into the Austin markets, especially Texas, but definitely focused in on Austin. So in the next following podcasts, we will talk a little bit about what's number 4, what's number 3, number 2, number 1. But again, this is open information to a certain extent. Go to RealPage, go to CoStar, go to Yardi Matrix, and do a little bit of a deeper dive in that type of stuff to kind of figure out what are the areas that you should be putting your investment dollars in.
Well, that's right. Well, I mean, that's the top 5 countdown. So, Paulie, if people want to get a hold of you out there, how can they contact you?
Again, Old Capital Lending. I'm Paul Peebles. Just go to oldcapitallending.com. We'd love to see you. And also don't forget to listen to the podcast at oldcapitalpodcast.com. And JC, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, they can go to our property website, multifamilypropertygroup.com. You can check out our contact us page and schedule a free 50-minute consultation. So that does it for this Apartment Investor Show. We will talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Thanks.